Hey, so for this episode of the show, we're going to do something slightly different to normal. I found a new source of questions around fitness and nutrition and training, but also a new level of stupidity, which I feel I have to share with you, my listeners, my followers, my viewers, and with the rest of the world, because this is important. Now, if you've never heard of the app, the website, Quora. Quora is a place where seemingly people with half a brain come to answer questions and people with less of a brain ask those questions in the first place. Now, there are a myriad of different topics that you can go and find questions on, find answers about. And one of those topics is nutrition and training and all that sort of good stuff, which you and I are interested in most. But when I started to delve into the depths of Quora this week, only then did I really find the true lows that humankind has sunk to in terms of the questions that they ask. Because let's face it, the old adage, there is no such thing as a stupid question, is something that I used to buy into before I saw this site. Because most people ask questions from a point of view of confusion. They have heard multiple different answers to that question, so they're unsure. Maybe they just don't know about training. They don't know about the basics of nutrition. So they're asking very, very simple questions, but they're not stupid questions. Now, often there is, now what I can see is there is a clear difference between a simple question, which you feel like you should know the answer to, and therefore you're labeling that as a stupid question, and then an outright stupid fucking question, which is what a lot of the Quora questions are. So this episode and this little series we're going to do is called Questions from Quora, where I'm going to go through and pick out the most random, stupid, insanely idiotic questions from Quora, and I'm going to give you a genuine Iron Paradise fitness style answer to these questions. There's a bit of entertainment, a bit of fun, and who knows, we may even answer a real question somewhere in this pile of shite. So let's get started with question number one, and it's a fucking perler, people. It's a fucking perler. Here we go. I won't name names if you ask these questions because, well, it's on a public fucking internet forum, so I should, but I won't. Question. I masturbated, I'm assuming he means masturbated, but masturbated 4 times in a week. Will it affect my gains? Okay, so firstly, 4 times in a week. You're not trying hard enough, mate. That's not enough. Anyway, but you've masturbated 4 times in a week. Will it affect your gains? Now, do we look a little bit deeper underneath the skin of this question and really kind of find out what is he trying to get to some sort of real like physiological, nutritional sort of debate here? Is he thinking that by masturbating he's reducing his testosterone levels and therefore his testosterone levels won't be so good, so he won't be able to push hard in the gym and make so many gains? Is that what he's saying? Or is it a case of masturbating quite vigorously 4 times a week is quite draining for him, and therefore he hasn't got the energy when he goes to the gym to start bench pressing? Or maybe he's got some sort of wrist fucking injury because he's wanking too hard. Maybe he's got a neck injury for a bit of wanker's whiplash. Who knows? But my answer to this question is basically, well, masturbating 4 times a week is only going to affect your gains if you masturbated instead of going to the gym. So if masturbating became your training 4 times a week instead of going to the gym, then yes, that's when it would affect your training. Is it going to affect your training in terms of testosterone levels and shit like that? Hell fucking no. Maybe I would say go out, find a girlfriend, maybe post less on Quora, have a life, and stop worrying about your levels of masturbation versus muscle gain. That would be my take on that question. Next question is another fucking gem. Another fucking gem. Why do I sweat when I eat yogurt? Now that's a fucking good question if ever I've heard one. Why do I sweat when I eat yogurt? Answer, I don't fucking know, mate. Why do you sweat when you eat yogurt? Are you wearing too many clothes? Are you in a sauna while you're chowing down on a mullet fruit corner? I don't fucking know why you're sweating while you're eating yogurt. Is it something to do with dairy making you sweat? Have you got the dairy sweats? No, probably not. Could it be that you're eating way too much yogurt in one sitting and therefore the digestive process is becoming really tiring and therefore you're sweating? I fucking very much doubt it, son. I think you're just a little bit hot. Maybe turn the heating down when you eat yogurt, or maybe it's just not the yogurt. Who knows? Crazy idea, I know, but maybe, just maybe, yogurt isn't causing you to sweat. So you can see, people, we're only 2 questions in, and you can see this is like hours of fun for me. I actually spent hours rolling through these questions and giving very, very precise answers to these fucking stupid questions. Next one. Did your parents literally count every calorie you ate as a child? Let's read that one again. Did your parents literally count every calorie you ate as a child? Now, my answer that I wrote on this question, which you can see here, and I'll post it on the video, no. That would be really weird. Now, I don't know any fucking parent on this planet that counts calories for their child. Specifically, literally every calorie, because that's the specific question. Literally every calorie. No, because there's not much fucking point, you moron. So we'll move on from that question. Oh, this was a great one. This was a great one. I loved this question. I think this person, don't know whether it was a man or woman, was really thinking maybe they thought they stumbled across the Dragon's Den idea, the Shark Tank idea that would revolutionize the fitness industry, would revolutionize people's approach to diet, to nutrition, to really, maybe it's the breakthrough she felt that was needed to crack the obesity crisis. This was like public health information that's buried on the internet that needs to be publicized to the world. And I feel like I'm now the vehicle to do that. I'm the vehicle for this person's genius fucking idea. Here we go. Now, let's set some context to this question. This person really wants people to eat more healthy foods. It's a noble cause, I champion that cause, but maybe not with the way you fucking suggest in this question. Why don't healthy foods use nicotine to help make eating healthy addictive? Right, there's so many ways we can break down this question to get to the levels of moron that you've reached here. So why don't healthy foods use nicotine? So now this is saying, like, the way this is worded is, why don't healthy foods use nicotine? Not the farmers making or producing the healthy foods, not the companies or the manufacturers making the healthy foods, actually the foods themselves. Why aren't the foods themselves? Why aren't carrots using fucking nicotine? Why aren't peas and potatoes using nicotine? Why isn't a fucking chicken smoking 20 fags a day, getting hooked on nicotine so that their body is full of fucking nicotine, and when you eat a chicken breast, you're fucking addicted to it? Well, I don't know about you, but healthy foods can't make that fucking decision. Now let's cut this person some slack. They may have missed out a few words here. Maybe English wasn't their mother tongue. So maybe they're saying, okay, why don't the manufacturers of healthy foods pump a shitload of nicotine into their food so you're addicted to it? Well, there's 2 fucking problems with that logic, my friend. One is you're effectively drugging people to be addicted to a product that you're selling. I have a funny feeling that's not ethical. Yes, I'm going to pump this food full of addictive chemicals so that you're addicted to that product that I am selling. Now, okay, people do that with cigarettes all the time, but hey, that's got a whole history to it. that we won't go into right now. So from that point of view, ethics, I just can't see nicotine being the solution to the obesity crisis here. Plus, there's a fundamental flaw in the fact that you're making people addicted to food. Because, okay, right, you could get addicted to carrots. You could get addicted to avocado. You could get addicted to nuts. Any foods like that. So you're actually going to end up overeating because you're fucking addicted to it. And that really is going to make people fat. So, yes, making foods injected or basically coated, covered, containing a bunch of nicotine is not the way to go, my friend. So yes, so as you can see, Quora is this just gem of information that I feel is just, it's just waiting for the public to see everything that's going in here. Now, there's a question here that I want to find for you. There's a question in here which really, again, like summed up my thoughts on why you're being led astray when it comes to nutrition. So here we go. This is actually a genuine question. So let's end this episode of questions from Quora with a genuine question, but it's with a twist, because instead of having a bullshit question, we've got a fucking bullshit answer to really break down here. So this person asks, very genuine question. Is it better to take whey protein with or without carbohydrates? A very valid question. Now let's look at this in a bit of context. I'm assuming this person saying take whey protein powder with or without carbohydrates. They're probably assuming this is post-workout. You know, should they be replenishing carbohydrates? Is the carbohydrate and the whey protein going to be better in terms of fueling and pushing that whey protein, those amino acids, into the muscles, into the bloodstream, so they actually get used quicker? That's sort of the logic that people are questioning there. But before we get to the real answer, let's get to the real meat and potatoes of this one, and let's have a look at the first answer, which sadly I say has been viewed 174 times, which means 174 people have seen this absolute fucking Bolex. Now, the first sentence is 4 words long. 4 words, just 4 words. But you can now, I only need to say these 4 words and you are going to see the level of stupidity that is here. So, here we go. Remember the question, is it better to take whey protein with or without carbohydrate? First sentence. Whey protein is carbs. Let me say that again. Whey protein is carbs. Protein is carbs. Fucking idiot. So he then goes through and says, whey protein is poorly absorbed anyway because it leaves the stomach so rapidly. No, that's called gastric emptying, you absolute moron. That's quite a good thing when we're talking about this particular situation. He then goes on to talk about this study, that study, anabolic window being bro science, and I would agree, the old definition of an anabolic window is a bit bro science. So that whole thing of you have to have whey protein within like 20, 30 minutes of working out or else you miss your anabolic window is pure bro science. However, there is some research to say that whey protein within the first 3 hours has a benefit over leaving it any longer. Obviously, then you want to be having multiple servings of protein throughout the day because you can basically get an anabolic response over the course of a 24, 36 hour period after working out. But there is some benefit to that first 3 hours for you having some whey protein. So yes, old anabolic window, bro science, 20, 30 minutes after training is bollocks. But there is some advantage to having whey protein a little bit sooner. It then basically comes along and says, basically you shouldn't have whey protein because it just turns to glucose in the liver. Not true. It goes on to about some Italian researchers, blah, blah, blah. bollocks, bollocks, bollocks. And then he ends with a perler. Then he ends with a perler of an answer, or closing to his answer. So rather than consume carbs with whey protein, you should be consuming carbs instead of whey protein. Oh yes, because that's how all people build muscle. They build muscle by not having protein. They build it with carbs, because carbs are the fuel for fucking building muscle. So this is just absolutely fucking moronic. And I actually responded to this guy because most of the comments that I saw on other people's posts, okay, it was fucking wrong. There was a bit of poor information or misrepresentation of research or whatever. So you kind of let it go. I just gave my answer, a little short and succinct answer, and moved on. But this guy just fucking wound me up a treat. So I said to him, I won't go through my whole entire response to his comment. I'll just go from the first sentence, and you can read from there. So basically, I said, whey protein is carbs, ? This is absolute nonsense and in no way helpful to this question. And then I go on to explain all about the reality of the answer. So really, in terms of, let's answer this question properly. So in terms of post-workout whey protein and carbohydrates. So yes, you would want protein within 3 hours of working out to be optimal. Obviously, you've got a much longer period to get benefit from that training stimulus. You want to be having multiple protein servings throughout the day to stimulate muscle protein synthesis, stop muscle protein breakdown, and get that positive balance. Definitely want to be doing that. Now, you can have just a normal meal after you work out. That's perfectly fine. But what you're really looking to try and do is hit your leucine threshold. Now, leucine is an amino acid that is within protein. So when you consume whey protein specifically, it has a very high leucine content. So if you consume that after you work out, you're hitting your leucine threshold, you're activating muscle protein synthesis, you're going through the process of building new muscle, and you're getting the benefit from that training stimulus that you had. That doesn't mean to say you have to have whey protein, you have to have a whey protein shake. Like I said, you can have a normal meal. However, when you look at the content of any specific, what we would call a mixed meal or mixed protein meal, so that's like if you've got chicken with rice, veg, whatever, that's got multiple protein sources in it. So it's like a mixed meal in terms of protein. Now, typically, they're going to be slightly lower in leucine than a whey protein shake. So you would say that you would have more protein in that particular meal. So for example, in a whey protein shake, you might have 25 to 30 grams of total protein, and therefore that's going to hit your leucine threshold because of the leucine content within whey protein. In a mixed meal, you might go for something around about like 40 to 50 grams of protein to hit your leucine threshold. Now, leucine threshold differ by your sex, your weight, all those different sorts of things. So a female who's very light doesn't need as much, so their total protein intake will be a bit lower in that specific meal. So that would be how you would prioritize protein in that post-workout period. In terms of carbohydrate, the research shows that you don't need to worry about carbohydrate intake in order to get the benefit from the training stimulus and from your protein intake in that post-workout period. So there's a research study out there that shows whey protein taken with 0 glucose, 40 grams of glucose and 80 grams of glucose. And in terms of the muscle building effect, 0 difference between all three. So if you want carbohydrates because maybe you have a bit of a post-workout smoothie where you throw in a banana, protein, milk, whatever, and you enjoy it, cool, go for it. If it's a good way for you to get more fruit into your diet because you're just chucking a banana or whatever in there, cool, go do that. That's awesome. That's a great way to do it. But don't feel like you have to do it. You're not missing out on anything if you don't do it. The only real scenario where I would recommend someone takes or includes carbohydrate in their post-workout is if maybe you are training again that same day and therefore you want to really increase the rate at which you replenish your energy stores so that you can give 100% in that second bout of training later in the day. So that would be the kind of only sort of situation if you've got a short turnaround time between that workout and the next one. Other than that, I don't really think there's a fucking point or there's a need to definitely do it. Again, if you want to do it, if it works for you, I have a banana with my protein shake post-workout because I like it, I enjoy it. And that's a good way for me to get additional vitamins, minerals, and some carbohydrate into my diet. So I like it, I do it. That's the way I would work it. And in terms of this dude's question, he says, like, again, he's on the bandwagon of 0.8 grams of protein per kilo. Don't need any more than that. This is wrong. 0.8 comes from the recommended daily allowance in order to avoid disease. Now, you want to be much healthier than just trying to avoid disease. So, like, my rough guidelines around total protein intake would be, if you are someone who's weight training, resistance training, and really focused in on body composition, then 1.8 to 2.7 grams per kilo is a broad range that you can work within. Most people, it's the 1.8 to 2 grams per kilo is perfectly fine. But if you're just got some general goals, general weight loss, general fat loss, general health, you're not really too fussed about building muscle, all that sort of stuff, then sort of anywhere in that 1.2 to 1.8 is perfectly fine. If you are maybe someone who's in an endurance event, like cycling, something like that, maybe you're going to go to the sort of 1.4 to 1.7-ish grams per kilo of protein. And they would be the broad ranges you would work within. So hopefully you found that both entertaining and also informative at the end. And I'm going to be doing more questions from Quora, just to add a few more sort of more entertaining questions, as well as a few factual ones as well. So by all means, if you've got questions you want me to answer, maybe you've come across something on Quora yourself that you want me to take a look at, then feel free to write that in the comments section below, or come over to Instagram at iron_paradise_fitness. Drop me a little DM. Say you've listened to this episode, watched it on YouTube, listened to the podcast, wherever you've seen it or heard it, and then drop me your question there, and I'll be glad to include it in a future episode of the show. But for now, all I'm going to say is keep living the lean life, and I'll see you on the next one.